Colosseum is one of the world's most famous ruins. It is a giant amphitheater built in the 1st century. It's the first of its kind and has inspired many buildings. It is a magnificent structure made by hand. The Colosseum is one of the 7 new wonders of the world. It's known for its massive size. The Colosseum is more than 600 feet long and has a circumference of 64 school buses parked bumper to bumper in an oval. It's also 12 stories high. The Colosseum is also known for its intricate designs and architecture, as well as age. The Colosseum is over 19 centuries old. As I said before, the Colosseum has inspired many building designs. This includes the Vancouver Public Library and many sports stadiums, including the Edmonton Colosseum Sports Arena and the Vancouver Pacific Colosseum. The Colosseum that I'm talking about is located in Rome, Italy. The Colosseum was completed in 81 AD. It took 11 years to build. This was a wonderful accomplishment for this time period, as the people of that time had no advanced technology such as computers, cranes, and cars, etc. No understanding of modern medicine, and no organized government. The Colosseum was a huge amphitheater that seated 80,000 people, which was 20,000 more than BC Place. It had wonderful architecture that included many intricate arches that gave the building a very airy feeling, but were also very structurally important. The building is surrounded with white stone statues. Along the top of the upper ring of the wall is shields from previous gladiator battles. I'll get back to that later. Throughout the corridors, you could find multiple paintings and fountains with scented water. In most of the halls, you could find the ceilings painted gold and purple. The building was built in 3 sections: foundation, walls, and arches. The foundation was built by building 4 large drains, then adding corridors between them. In these corridors, there are rooms. These rooms had assigned uses that ranged from armories to sleeping eating quarters to morgues, or places that we would bury or keep the dead gladiators. Next came the walls. They built 3 types of walls. 2 of these were inner walls. These walls had 2 layers of material on the blocks. The first type of wall was made of tufa, which was blocks of volcanic ash surrounded in travertine, or heavy stone. The second type of wall was made from concrete and brick. Since concrete was just recently invented, the Romans didn't know how strong it was. So they made concrete blocks just a bit smaller than needed, and then surrounded the outside with bricks or stone. These are both inner walls. The last type of wall was an outer wall. These blocks were only 1 layer thick. This was travertine limestone. This stone was brought from a quarry 25 miles out of Rome. These blocks were hauled to the Colosseum by slaves, and these were heavy blocks, but these blocks were used for multiple things, including walls and ground supports. After that came the arches. Now, I've mentioned these arches before in saying that they are very structurally important, and they are. I believe the Roman Colosseum wouldn't have lasted 19 centuries without them. The reason of this is the arches are built in a curve out of wedged blocks, and it's not like they're glued together. They're only held together by pressure. Now, this isn't the actual weight, this is just an example, but imagine having to hold up a 2,000-pound block with all the pressure on you. That would be really heavy. Now imagine 4 people coming, grabbing the lower corner, and pushing it diagonally across the block to the upper corner. The pressure would go in all different directions. Wouldn't that be easier? That's the job of the arches. To make the Colosseum, the Romans used many materials including tufa, iron clamps, cement or concrete, bricks, travertine limestone, and marble, which were used for the seats and stairs. As I said before, there were 80,000 seats, so that means 80,000 people. Surprisingly, it's organized the same way most places are today, like a hockey game or a dog show. The people buy tickets, and the more they pay, the better the seats. Also, the nobles, or important people, got reserved seats on the podium, or as we call it today, a box. The person who thought of this idea was the Emperor Vespasian. He built this on top of the old emperor's golden palace, which he had torn down. This made him very popular, as the old emperor was very mean. As far as I can tell, his only purpose was for public entertainment. Sadly, Emperor Vespasian died before the completion of the Colosseum, but his oldest son, Titus, took over and saw the completion along with what it was used for. As it turned out, the Colosseum was used for entertainment and games. In the morning, there were animal acts similar to the ones seen in the circus today, followed by animal hunter fights. At noon, there would be the execution of criminals, and after that, in the evening, there would be the gladiator battles. There was a downside to all this excitement. Wild beasts, slaves, gladiators, and criminals punished with death would be poked and shoved through the lower corridors into elevators, wheeled up into the ring, and be given two choices: to kill or be killed. Some only had one: be killed. The Colosseum had three different significances: a political, an economic, and a religious significance. Its political significance is the showing of executions for breaking the law. It's also a way for people to raise their social status and for slaves to free themselves. There's also an economic significance. On days where the Colosseum wasn't open, there'd be people selling their items and that such. Also, there's also a religious reason. As Christianity became more prominent, the brutal games that took place in the Colosseum would be considered wrong and were stopped in the 1500s. From staging gladiator battles in the late 1st century to staging tours now, this world wonder has sustained 1930 years of entertainment, and I hope it'll last long enough for me to one day see it.